AI arrived in Premiere Pro. For now only in the beta version, but it's only a matter of time before anyone gets their hands on this. So how does it work? What does it mean to your workflow? Is it any good? How does it compare to my plugin AI editor? All of these questions, we'll try to answer them today. And if you don't know me, my name is Piotr. I'm a freelance editor that worked on feature films, short films, documentaries, a lot of corporate videos, you name it. And for the last 7 years, I've been helping people to streamline their editing workflow with presets, with plugins, with good practices that work inside of Premiere Pro, but also most of the other NLEs. So AI assistant, right? Let's put this name to the test. Okay, so you open it here in the right hand corner and just click on this button over here. The panel shows up and it says AI assistant, describe what you want to do. Let AI assistant handle the steps for you. That's all we wanted for years, right? AI assistant that handles steps for us. It's a joke, but also half a joke because, yeah, admit it, like, you would like an assistant to do a lot of things for you, right? So maybe it's not exactly how you described it. It's not someone you will go for a lunch with, but it's an assistant, right? It's better than nothing. So let's see it in action. So you can see that there are some prompts that are suggested over here, and one of those is organize the project, and there is also a refresh button. We'll try it in a moment, but I actually do want to organize this project. I've put things out of the folders just to see how it will do on its own, right? So let's actually click on this and let's see if it does the work well. And now it shows me the full prompt. Look through my project items and propose a pin structure to organize them. Once I approve, create the pin structure and move the items based on the proposal. Okay, let's see what this button over here does. Always ask permission, approve permission automatically. Okay, so we should go probably with this one to ask permissions, but I will actually go with approve permissions automatically because this video is finished. You know, it's a walkthrough video review.pro, my feedback tool for video editors. So it can't really do any harm. So I will just, like, you know, leave it at approve permissions automatically. Let's send it and let's see how long it will take. I will actually try to measure the time. And by the way, I actually have 2 projects open, so I hope that it will realize that that's the one that I have, you know, that is active. And it did suggest a few things, so let's see. Here is what I see in the project. 40 items across several clear categories. Here is my proposal bin structure. Okay, sequences, that's correct. Screen recordings, that's correct. Camera footage, graphics, audio, sound effects, synth, and motion graphics template media, right? Okay, so does this structure work for you? It does, but I actually want to suggest a few changes. That's great, but I want the parent bins to have numbers at the beginning. Make it 2-digit number followed by an underscore and then the name of the parent folder. That's the way I like it, so let's see what it does. It created the bins, and you can see that it created the numbers, just as I asked. I like my sequences to be at the bottom, but that doesn't matter right now. I didn't ask for it, so it's my fault. And I'm waiting about half a minute right now. It's still moving things, I guess, or thinking about it. And the thing is, with a project like this, I would probably do it in half a minute. I would probably move those clips in those bins already. And right now we're burning through tokens, right? Because it's in beta, so I assume that they don't charge you for this more. But once it gets to the, you know, official version, my guess is that there will be a limit to how much you can work with it. Or they will raise the price of, you know, the subscription, but I don't think that will happen. I think they will keep the base price at what it is, and they will just give you like limits on how much AI assistant you can use. And if you want to exceed that level, that limit, you will have to pay extra. So for a project like this, I would do it by hand, and I would do it a little bit faster than it did. And actually, like, you know, this is like a fake example, because in reality, I always start the project with a template. So I have my bins created already as I open an empty project. The bins are there, right? So I only dropped import files into the bins already. So if you're an experienced editor, you're probably using a template project yourself. So this is a little bit unrealistic, I guess, scenario, but the first one that we tried. Okay, let's move on with the next one. Okay, it's pretty awesome. I can click on this add a new chat icon. So I can have it do multiple steps at once, is that correct? So now let me try to batch rename my still images. Most of them are created correctly, I guess, because some of them are very vague, especially those ChatGPT generated images that I have over here, and I want to see what it will do to describe them, I guess. So let's click on it. Yeah, rename based on that naming. Find all the still images in my project, look for them. Okay, sounds good. Let's send it. And again, it will take some time, probably a minute or so. And in this case, there are only a few still images. So again, I would probably do it in a very similar time myself without burning those tokens and generating more costs. But let's say I just want to grab a snack right now, right? So instead of doing it by hand, I could ask for it, go downstairs, grab a snack, go back, and I return to, a finished task. So I think there are two obvious groups this is dedicated for. The first one are people who aren't really editors, but they still want to use this professional software, let's say, so they don't really know user interface that well, and they would prefer to talk to the program and ask it to do work for them rather than learning how to do it instead. And the second one are people who just want things to be prepared for the way they like to work. So maybe renaming files, maybe preparing a sequence, stuff like that. Okay, so actually I'm pretty impressed because it added a lot of context for those files and renamed them in very good way, very consistent manner. So while it would take me a similar amount of time, I guess, I would probably, do a shorter version where I would describe them in 2 words or something like that. But this is structured renaming and I love it. So well done, AI assistant. I would pat you on the shoulder, but you don't have shoulders. Okay, so it's time for a custom command, custom prompt. We have a project here with my interview with Walter Merge, and I will ask it to organize and create a sequence for me. Let's try something like this. In the timelines bin, there is a bin for selects. Open all 3 sequences in there and move all clips from video track number 4 to a new sequence that you will put in 04_edits. Rename it so that it has trailer in the name, and make sure that as you move those clips, they have different color label depending on which sequence they come from. Whew, okay, that's quite a heavy prompt, so to be honest, I'm not sure if it will do it. And I actually did it manually in the previous video, so you can see, how long it took me there. But it was probably below 2 minutes, so less than 2 minutes, I guess. Let's see if it can handle it. If it will, then I will be actually very impressed. Let's send it, let's go. Okay, it's over 1 minute now, I'm still waiting, and I just realized that I didn't say that I want those clips with the linked audio. I hope it will figure it out, but if it doesn't, then it's actually my fault. I should have been, more precise with my prompt. We're at 2 minutes now, so I think I would be done manually already. But let's say I'm downstairs getting a snack or making a coffee or just practicing on the slackline, whatever. Okay, another thing I realized is that I asked it to move instead of copy. Okay, normally I would copy, so but it's my fault, so it's all good, all good. I think it did it, so let's open edits, and in here we've got trailer selects, so that's the one it created. And look at this, look at this, look at this, it actually did it. Holy cow. It was 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so I would do it manually faster, but it's a very manual process, so I don't really like to do it. I have shortcuts for it, so I do it quickly, but it's a very mundane task. There is nothing creative to it, so for that I would actually prefer to practice on a slackline during that time, and now I think I will. It did it exactly as I asked it. Okay, I have to admit it's better than I expected. I had some expectations, like we always do, right? And I thought this would really do organizing, renaming, very, very simple assistant type of work, right? This is still assistant type of work, of course, but it was a complicated command and it did it perfectly fine. It did it exactly as I would do it. That's crazy. Okay, but now it's time for a real test. So we have 5 minutes long sequence over here, and it has a raw unedited excerpt from this interview, right? It's an analogy of ping pong balls and film set. I love this analogy. So we'll ask it to create 2 minutes long version of it that makes sense, okay? So we'll open this, and again, a custom prompt. Edit ping pong analogy assembly of one sequence so that it's under 2 minutes long and still makes sense and tells the full story of this analogy between ping pong balls and film set. Okay, I'll just change the naming a little bit so there is no area for a mistake over here, and let's send it. We can see the thinking process called for tools. A sequence continues interview clip. I need to get word level timestamps for the key sections to make precise cuts down to under 2 minutes. Let me pull the word timecodes across the full transcript. I have everything I need. Here is my edit plan. 8 keeper sections. Done. The sequence is 1:48, well under 2 minutes mark. Here is what we cut and why. Okay, I'm impressed, but let's listen to it.
And they throw basketfuls of colored ping pong balls at you. And there are 5 different colors. One of the colors is, say, blue. And oh, yeah, that's exactly the way I thought it would be. The next color, which is yellow, is, yeah, that's different. That's going to be different than I thought, but it's okay. Then there are...
This is actually pretty good. Of course, there is a lot of fluff that I would remove, and there is some repetition, some things that basically are fillers that wouldn't make it if I would be cutting it. And actually, let's give it another prompt for it. Maybe it will actually correct itself, but it's still surprisingly good. And for a tool like Eddie, which costs $200 a month, it's not good news. It's not good news. Let's give it a prompt. I've noticed that there are some thinking sounds and some pauses that are a little bit too long. Even when he talks about what color it should be, whether black or not, I think we should go straight to the fact that this last type of a ping pong ball is kind of a cyanide. So basically go straight from that last kind to the explanation that it's a cyanide that's gonna poison a film. I'll just make it a little bit shorter. Okay, and let's send this one. Okay, like, waiting for it, I actually expect it will do pretty well again. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, what about those people that hate AI with all their guts? I got this email yesterday from a person that was very unhappy about the update of my plugin, which basically is like a ChatGPT built into Premiere Pro so that you can like select things using AI instead of like feeding transcript to ChatGPT, and it does things for you on the timeline, but it doesn't remove anything. So it's, for me, in my opinion, it's the best approach to using AI on your timeline, because it stays within your workflow. It doesn't do any editing for you, but rather helps you do selects. But this person anyway was very unhappy about the fact that I do anything AI related. And I'm just wondering, like, have they never used ChatGPT, and do they really avoid anything AI related? Suggestion in search is AI basically, and you've been using it and you've been probably loving it. So at some point people are gonna push that boundary. And for me, in my opinion, like, choosing the way where AI actually amplifies what you do without replacing you is the best approach. But what do I know? Maybe this person is right and I just should do the thing that he suggests. I don't know. I don't think I should. But what do I know, right? Okay, where is this? Sequence is 1:31. Okay, blue section, gold section, changeable section, cyanide section. Okay.
Open the door to the set, and it's as if there are some stagehands dressed in clown costumes.
Okay, so I would remove these moments, of course.
And it's as if there are...
This should be removed and stuff like that, but it's a good starting point. I can see how it could be part of one's workflow, not for something where your heart is. You know, I would never let it touch any project that is very close to my heart, but something where maybe I want to have more deliverables, maybe I want to have different versions I can test and stuff like that. I can see it being part of the workflow. One last test, okay? I want to go to this sequence and I will ask it the same thing that I asked it yesterday when using this with AI editor plugin, and let's see what it does. I'm working on a trailer for this full conversation. I want you to find best candidates I could use as a cliffhanger at the end of such trailer. Basically, it should be in the style of the Diary of a CEO podcast trailers. Then move selected clips in the video track stack. The best candidates should land on video track number 4, almost best on video track number 3, and potentially usable on video track number 2. Okay, so there is a prompt, let's send it. I'm very curious about what it will do. So I can already see the selects it created, and those are not the best. I'm not sure, maybe my prompt wasn't great, but I used the same prompt yesterday and the selects were much better because they created intrigue and curiosity in the viewer. Those are more like, you know, great quotes, I guess. Really is good, interesting is better. Yeah, but where is the cliffhanger, right? Done. Here is what landed on the timeline. Oh, it created duplicates. Okay. So that's the difference. And it only created 3. I didn't say that there have to be 3 selects. I said, like, find the best candidates. So AI Editor plugin is definitely working better when it comes to that, like, you know, especially with the plans that I have for it and where I want to take it. And my plugin is one-time payment, and then you only pay for the tokens you use with your API key. So you have it under control, you own it. With Adobe, you don't really own it. You don't know what will be the upper cost of the tokens in the future and so on. So this last test is far from what I would expect and what I would consider good, but still it did almost what I asked it for relatively well, let's say. So if you want to have a look at my plugin, the link in the description. I think it's really the best use of AI I can imagine. But this one, AI Assistant in Premiere, actually surprised me with how useful it already is. And I will probably use it. I will probably use it for mundane tasks, like, you know, like the task we did with collecting selects from multiple sequences. It's awesome that I can just drop this prompt that I can have pre-written before I pick up kids from school. And when I'm back at my edit desk, it's done. But like, as always with AI, garbage in, garbage out. So the more intentional you are about what you're asking, the better result you will get. And I think that's something to think about. So I would encourage you to try both. Take care, bye.